Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to my channel. If you've not been here before, my name's Leon. I'm a singer-songwriter from Cardiff in Wales. This channel primarily exists for no other reason than to promote my own music. I don't consider myself a YouTuber. I don't really have any intentions of being a YouTuber in that sense and making money. This channel purely exists to promote my own music. Rick Beato staying on YouTube is not the big victory that you think it is. And fair use is not the big golden bullet or the golden goose that you all think it is. It's got to the point that after watching the commentary around Rick's issues that I'm starting to feel absolutely left out of the music community on YouTube, because fair use does not address the larger issues affecting the music community. Let's imagine a world where Rick's lawyer, he's got the luxury and the financial stability to afford a full-time lawyer. I think that's a very 1% luxury that the rest of us don't have. But let's imagine that the lawyer manages to get rid of all the copyright strikes and copyright claims, and the fair use argument wins out in all of those. And let's say, miracle upon miracles, that someone in Universal Music actually takes a look at what the hell is going on and manages to fix whatever's happening, and the copyright strikes die down to a background level. Great. What about the rest of us? If Rick wins, brilliant. We can all congratulate and, celebrate probably one of the most important music creators on YouTube currently. I think it's no argument that Rick is probably the most important musical historian and musical documentarian currently on the planet. And it would be a travesty if we were to lose all that content and all that history and those interviews. But if Rick wins, so what? He's clearly a very good businessman. He has a very good brand. He's built up a very, very successful music business. But Rick is a commercial enterprise, a for-profit brand, and the rest of us aren't. So what happens to the rest of us when Rick wins? Because I don't know. I think everybody is talking about fair use as this unicorn that's going to save everybody, that if the law was on our side, or if all the music publishers and the record companies actually treated us with respect, that somehow we'd all win, and we won't. What's going to happen to the tens of thousands? How many music creators do you think there are globally that can't afford a lawyer? Was there 10,000 music creators, 100,000, 500,000, over 1 million globally, people posting musical content to YouTube? Do you know cover songs are not protected by fair use? How many cover songs are on YouTube? How many channels exist for musicians to be posting cover songs? What's going to happen to them? This is supposed to be a music community, isn't it? Where we're all supposed to, lift each other up, celebrate each other's musical achievements. What's going to happen to everybody else when Rick Beato wins? Nothing. It's going to be exactly the same for everybody, because fair use isn't the issue, and it's not the golden egg that we're all thinking it is because of the discussions that have been going on by the select 1% YouTubers who've got that global reach and only talk about fair use when they're getting the shit side of it, when they're getting copyright striked and copyright claimed. There is no statutory legal definition of fair use. This is the UK government's copyright exceptions. It lists out 10 exceptions to copyright where you don't have to ask the copyright owners permission to use their work. And in the UK, it's called fair dealing, but it's the UK equivalent of fair use. And I'll just put this on the screen and I will read out the relevant portion. Fair dealing is a legal term used to establish whether a use of copyright material is lawful or whether it infringes copyright. And this is the important bit. There is no statutory definition of fair dealing. It will always be a matter of fact, degree, and impression in each case. The questions to be asked is, how would a fair-minded and honest person have dealt with the work? Factors that have been identified by the courts as relevant in determining whether a particular dealing with a work is fair include: does using the work affect the market for the original work? If a use of a work acts as a substitute for it, causing the owner to lose revenue, then it is not likely to be fair. Is the amount of work taken reasonable and appropriate? Was it necessary to use the amount that was taken? Usually only part of a work may be used. Fair use has no statutory description, meaning it is subjective and it has to be taken on a case-by-case basis. Therefore, you cannot claim definitively that that thing is fair use, because there is no statutory definition of what is fair use. A judge has to make a decision on a case-by-case basis. And if you're basing your YouTube business model on that, that is some really sketchy ground to be paying your mortgage on. And it also doesn't protect cover versions, as I've already said. So that wipes out and completely ignores probably a bigger proportion of the music creator YouTube community. Because I guarantee you there's way more cover songs on YouTube than there are any other type of musical content, apart from maybe gear reviews. But most gear reviews don't really run into fair use issues because they just generally play improvised stuff and they're not actually playing someone else's copyrighted material. So what happens to the rest of us when Rick wins? The biggest issue over anything else is sync licensing. Sync licensing is the ultimate issue. If you want to sync someone else's audio to moving pictures, you need a sync license. And the issue with sync licensing is that it is the preserve of broadcasting companies and big corporations that have all got one thing in common, and that's big corporate budgets and money. The current way to get a sync license, if you're just a random person posting YouTube covers, posting cover songs to YouTube, is you have to approach the music publisher. I've got 83 cover versions on my channel. I dread to think how many of them are Universal Music Group's copyright in terms of the publishing side of things. Now imagine me reaching out and emailing Universal and saying, I got this cover song that's already on YouTube, but I'd like it to be legal and I'd like a sync license. How much do you think Universal Music, they're either going to say, take it off right now, but how much do you think they're going to charge me for that? Hundreds? Thousands? There is no democratization. There's never been any democratization or consumerization of sync licensing. YouTube is the video equivalent of Napster right now, and I think the music publishers especially just don't like it. But there's a way that we can fix all of this. We need a system, an optional system that we can sign into and buy into that consumerizes and democratizes sync licensing for content creators on video platforms. And YouTube is the biggest video platform in the world. And the weird thing is, I've already posted a video on this and provided a full, what I see as a full solution to this, and you would never experience a copyright strike or a copyright claim ever again, because you would be covered, the publishers would be covered, the rights holders would be covered, and you would be protected by this product. And if you want to know what that looks like, then the video thumbnail that's coming up at the end of this video will take you straight to my proposal of what that would look like. And all it requires is the music community to decide, do I want to pay a nice, convenient, reasonable, affordable monthly subscription for something, or do I want to spend thousands on a lawyer? And even then, there's potentially no guarantee that I'm going to win every case that lawyer fights for me. Or do I just take my chances now in the wild west that is YouTube, content ID, copyright strikes and copyright claims, stealing all my revenue from me, or legally taking all my revenue from me, even though you own the mechanical rights to your video and audio on the content you upload. The content claims will steal all of that revenue from you, even though they don't own the mechanical rights to the audio and video footage. Just blows my mind. But there is a solution to this, and it's not going to be free. because I think we've spent 20 years taking advantage of a system that allows billions of people to upload as much content as they want. And we're hitting a tipping point now where I think that's unsustainable. But there is a solution, and I've already posted it, and I would appreciate some feedback on it from the music community, because it would fix everything. You would never get a copyright strike or a copyright claim ever again. And I know for a fact that I would prefer to live in that world. So thank you very much for your time. Links in the description.